Chelsea is already building for the Xabi era, and these 5 signings tell you everything you need to know. Picture this. A brand new manager has not even had his first training session at Stamford Bridge. He has not shaken hands with his players in the dressing room. He has not written a single name on a team sheet. And yet, 5 players are already on their way to Chelsea. 5. Before Xabi Alonso has even officially started the job. If that does not tell you something about where this club is heading, then nothing will. This is the reality of Chelsea right now. Todd Boehly and the ownership group are not waiting around. They are not sitting back hoping things fall into place. They are moving early, moving smart, and they are clearly building something with a very clear picture in mind. And for those of us who have been watching Chelsea closely, this summer already feels different. So let us sit down, take our time, and go through exactly what is happening. Who are these players coming in? Why does each one matter? And what does all of this tell us about the Chelsea that Xabi Alonso is about to take charge of? The Xabi Alonso factor. Before we get into the signings, we need to talk about what Xabi Alonso actually means for this football club. This is not just another managerial appointment. This is a statement. Xabi Alonso is one of the most highly rated young coaches in world football right now. His work at Bayer Leverkusen was genuinely remarkable. He took a club that had never won the Bundesliga and turned them into champions. Not just champions, but an unbeaten champion. He did it with a clear style of play, with high energy, with intelligent pressing, and with a real ability to get the best out of young players. That last point matters a lot when you look at what Chelsea are doing in the transfer market this summer, because every single one of these incoming players is young. Very young in some cases. Chelsea are not going out and signing 29-year-olds with 2 or 3 years at the top. They are bringing in teenagers and early 20s players who have the potential to grow into something special. And the idea is that Xabi Alonso, more than almost any other manager out there right now, is the kind of coach who can take that raw material and shape it into something brilliant. So with that context in mind, let us go through the signings one by one. Signing number 1, Denner. Let us start right at the beginning. Back in January 2025, Chelsea announced that Denner would be joining the club on July 1st. The deal was already done months in advance, which should tell you how much thought went into this one. Denner is a left-back from Corinthians in Brazil. He is joining on July 1st because that is the date he turns 18. Yes, you read that right. Chelsea agreed this deal for a player who had not even reached his 18th birthday yet. That is how highly rated he is, and that is how early Chelsea were moving to get this done. Now, some people will read that and feel a little nervous. An 18-year-old from Brazilian football coming straight into the Premier League is a big ask. It does not always work out, but Chelsea have a whole ecosystem set up for exactly this kind of situation. They have sister clubs, they have loan pathways, they have development structures. The whole point of the BlueCo network is to be able to bring in young talent and develop it properly, rather than throwing a teenager into the deep end before they are ready. Denner is one for the future, but he is one Chelsea clearly believe in very much. Signing number 2, Destan Satpaev. The following month after the Denner announcement, news came through of another teenager. This time from Kazakhstan. Destan Satpaev is the name, and once again, Chelsea moved early to tie up a deal for a player most of their rivals probably had not even heard of. Now here is where the Chelsea model really starts to show itself. Most big clubs look for talent in the obvious places. Spain, France, England, Germany, Brazil, Argentina. Chelsea, under this ownership, have been willing to cast the net much wider. Kazakhstan is not a country that produces top-level Premier League footballers every year. But if the talent is there, Chelsea will find it. The details on Satpaev are not as widely covered as some of the other signings, but the fact that Chelsea moved for him tells you their scouting network is picking up players that others are missing. And in a world where top talent is increasingly expensive, finding diamonds in unexpected places is a very smart way to build a squad. Will Satpaev be a first-team regular at Stamford Bridge right away? Almost certainly not, but that is not the point. The point is, Chelsea are building depth, building options, and building a pipeline of young talent that can grow together under a manager who knows exactly how to develop players. Signing number 3, Geovany Quenda. Now we start to get into the signings that the wider football world has been paying more attention to. Geovany Quenda from Sporting CP in Portugal is a winger, and this is a name that has been generating real excitement. Quenda is highly regarded. Sporting CP is a club that has produced some serious talent over the years, and when a player comes through their system and gets talked about the way Quenda has, you have to sit up and take notice. Chelsea have clearly been watching this one for a long time, and they have moved to get it done before other clubs came sniffing around. This is another example of Chelsea acting quickly and decisively. They are not waiting for a player to have a breakout season and then entering a bidding war. They are identifying players early, making their move, and locking things down before the price goes through the roof. Quenda on the right wing, with pace and directness, fits exactly the kind of profile you would expect Xabi Alonso to want in his system. High energy, able to press from the front, able to carry the ball in behind defenses. This feels like a player who has been signed with a very specific idea of how he will be used. Signing number 4, Emmanuel Emegha. From Strasbourg comes Emmanuel Emegha, a forward who has been one of the more eye-catching signings of the window so far. Emegha is the kind of player who catches the eye immediately. A striker with presence, with movement, with the ability to cause problems for defenders. Strasbourg, as many Chelsea fans will know by now, is part of the BlueCo family. It is one of Chelsea's sister clubs, and it has become a really useful part of how this ownership group operates. Players can go to Strasbourg to develop, to get regular game time, to prove themselves in a competitive European league without the enormous pressure of playing for Chelsea in the Premier League every week. Emegha used that platform well. He arrived at Strasbourg, he performed, and now he is making the next step up to Stamford Bridge. This is the system working exactly as intended. But here is the interesting thing about Emegha, and we will come back to this when we talk about the 5th signing. He is almost certainly not going to be the last player to travel from Strasbourg to Chelsea this summer, which brings us to the most talked about signing of them all. Signing number 5, Valentino Barco. This is the one that has Chelsea fans most excited right now. Valentino Barco is a 21-year-old from Argentina who has been playing for Strasbourg, and his move to Chelsea feels like it is a matter of days away rather than weeks. Let us give you the full picture on Barco, because this one is worth really understanding properly. Barco was signed by Brighton originally, then moved to Strasbourg on loan in January 2025, when Strasbourg picked him up for around £8 million. Think about that for a moment. £8 million for a player who is now in Lionel Scaloni's Argentina squad for the 2026 World Cup. That is an extraordinary piece of business. At Strasbourg, Barco originally came in as a left back. That is the position he was known for at Boca Juniors back in Argentina. A quick, direct, attacking left-back with energy and quality on the ball. But at Strasbourg, under manager Liam Rossignol, something interesting happened. Rossignol saw qualities in Barco that went beyond just being a left-back. He started using him in more of a midfield role at times, pushing him further up the pitch and giving him more freedom to influence the game going forward. That is a really significant development. Because it means Barco is not just an option at left-back for Chelsea. He is a player who can operate in multiple positions on the left side of the pitch. He can be a left-back, he can be a left midfielder, he can be a more advanced option if needed. That kind of flexibility is gold for a manager like Xabi Alonso, who wants his fullbacks to be able to contribute to attacks and not just defend. And let us not forget what Barco himself recently posted on social media. He wrote a goodbye message to Strasbourg, thanking everyone at the club, his teammates, the coaches who helped him, and the fans. That is not the kind of message you write unless you know exactly where you are going next. He has already said goodbye to Strasbourg. The Chelsea move is happening. It is just a question of when the paperwork gets done and the announcement comes through. Why has the Barco deal not been announced yet? This is the question everyone is asking right now. Reports from back in April suggested that Chelsea and Barco had already agreed personal terms. So if everything is agreed, why is it not official yet? The honest answer is that nobody outside of Chelsea really knows. It could be something as simple as administrative paperwork between two clubs under the same ownership. It could be about timing, making sure everything is in place for when Barco officially joins on July 1st alongside Denner. It could be that Chelsea want to announce things in a certain order for various reasons. What we do know is that two clubs within the same ownership group do not have the same kind of difficult negotiations that you might see between totally separate clubs. There is no back and forth over fees, no drama about who wants what. The deal is done. The announcement is coming. And when it arrives, Chelsea will have their 5th signing of the summer, confirmed before Xabi Alonso has even had his first training session. What does the Marc Cucurella situation mean? Now, some Chelsea fans will have read the news about Barco and immediately thought about Marc Cucurella. After all, Cucurella plays left back, Barco plays left back. Are Chelsea planning to replace one with the other? The answer, based on everything we know, is no, at least not right now. Here is the situation with Cucurella. He has been a decent servant for Chelsea since he joined, had some very good moments, and built himself up after a difficult start to his time at the club. But his contract is running down. He will soon be in the last 2 years of his deal, and there have been hints here and there that he might be open to a move if the right opportunity came along. So Chelsea are in a position where they cannot fully rely on Cucurella being at the club for the long term. They need cover at left back regardless. And Barco is exactly the kind of player who provides that cover while also offering the flexibility to play further forward when needed. The positive way to read this for Cucurella is that Barco is not going to take his starting spot immediately. He is 21 years old and still developing. He is not going to walk straight into the team ahead of an established Premier League player. But his presence in the squad means Chelsea are not totally dependent on Cucurella staying fit and available. And if Cucurella does leave at some point, Chelsea already have a player in the building who can step into that role and grow into it. For Barco, meanwhile, the move to the Premier League is the right next step in his career. He has done well in League One with Strasbourg. He has proved he can handle European football. Now he gets the chance to test himself in the most competitive league in the world, under a world-class manager who will help him develop even further. The bigger picture. What Chelsea are building. Let us zoom out for a moment and look at what all 5 of these signings mean together. Chelsea are building a squad built on youth, talent, and potential. That has been the ownership's philosophy since Todd Boehly arrived, and these 5 signings are the clearest expression of that philosophy yet. Every single player coming in is young. Every single one of them has years of development ahead of them, and every single one of them is coming to a club that now has a manager who has proven he can take young, talented players and turn them into something special. Think about what Xabi Alonso did at Leverkusen. He took a squad that was not considered among the absolute elite and built them into something that nobody in Europe could stop. He did it with a clear style, with hard work, with intelligent coaching, and with a real belief in his players. Some of those Leverkusen players were not household names when he arrived. By the time he left, they were wanted by every top club on the continent. That is the kind of manager Chelsea have brought in. And now, even before he has started, the club is already giving him the raw material to work with. Some fans will ask whether this group of young players can compete for the title right away. That is a fair question. The honest answer is probably not in year 1. Building with young players takes time. There will be growing pains. There will be moments where experience counts, and Chelsea might find themselves on the wrong end of results against more settled, more experienced squads. But the long-term picture here is genuinely exciting. If Barco, Quenda, Emegha, and the others develop the way Chelsea believe they can, and if Xabi Alonso is the manager to bring it all together, then we could be looking at the foundation of something very special being laid down right now in the summer of 2025. What questions should we be asking? As Chelsea fans and analysts, there are some really important questions that we should be watching as this summer unfolds. First question. Will Chelsea also bring in more experienced players to complement all this youth? 5 young signings is great for the future, but you need experience in a squad to help young players learn and develop. Are Chelsea going to add some more seasoned professionals alongside the teenagers and early 20s players? Second question, what happens with the players already at the club? Chelsea have a large squad, and some of those players will need to leave this summer. How that outgoing business is handled will be just as important as the incoming transfers. Third question, how quickly does Xabi Alonso want to play his style? Implementing a new system takes time. Does he have the patience to build slowly, or will he want to see his ideas on the pitch right from the start of the season? Fourth question, what is the plan for Barco specifically in his first season? Does he go straight into the first team setup, or does he need a loan spell somewhere to get regular minutes while he adapts to English football? These are the kinds of questions that make following Chelsea so interesting right now. There is so much happening, so much to watch, and so much to look forward to. What the BlueCo model means for Chelsea. One thing we should not overlook in all of this is what the BlueCo network actually means for how Chelsea operate. Having sister clubs like Strasbourg is not just about having somewhere to send players who are not quite ready for the first team. It is about creating a whole pipeline of talent that can be identified, developed, and then brought to Chelsea when the time is right. Emegha came from Strasbourg. Barco came from Strasbourg. And you can bet there are other players within the BlueCo network right now who Chelsea are watching closely and who could follow the same path in future windows. This is a genuinely different way of building a football club. Most top clubs are reactive in the transfer market. They see a problem, they go and spend money to fix it. Chelsea, under this ownership, are trying to be proactive. They are trying to spot talent early, bring it into the network, develop it, and then use it when the moment is right. When it works, as it appears to be working with Barco, it is a really smart approach. The challenge is making sure the pathway is clear enough and the development is good enough that the players coming through are actually ready when they arrive at Chelsea. That requires good coaching at every level of the network, good communication between the clubs, and a clear idea of what Chelsea need so that the right players are being developed in the right way. It is a complicated operation to run well, but the early signs this summer suggest it is starting to come together. A final word before we close. Here is something worth thinking about as you process all of this news. Xabi Alonso is about to walk into Stamford Bridge and find 5 players already there waiting for him. Players who have been signed with his ideas in mind, players who fit the profile of what he has shown he likes to work with during his career as a coach. That is a really good sign. It means the ownership and the manager are on the same page. It means Chelsea are not just signing players and hoping they fit whatever the new manager wants. There has clearly been communication. There has clearly been a shared vision. And there is clearly a plan for how this squad is going to be built over the next few years. For Chelsea fans who have felt like the club has sometimes been throwing money at the transfer market without a real strategy, this summer should feel reassuring. There is a strategy here. It is a young strategy, a long-term strategy, and it is being executed with real intent. It will not be perfect. There will be mistakes along the way. Some of these young players will not reach the levels that are being expected of them. That is the reality of building with young talent, but some of them will. And if even a handful of these 5 players turn into genuine top-level Premier League footballers under Xabi Alonso's guidance, then the foundations being laid right now will look absolutely brilliant in hindsight. Chelsea are not just getting ready for next season, they are getting ready for the next 5 years. And with Xabi Alonso at the helm and 5 hungry, talented young players already on their way, the future at Stamford Bridge is looking as bright as it has done in a very long time. Keep watching, keep following every update, because this is the start of something, and you are going to want to be along for the ride from the very beginning. Come on, Chelsea.